What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. So, some of you may not know, before I got into politics, I actually did public speaking on the topic of sex, dating, and relationships. Go figure. But nonetheless, I delved into the psychology behind dating, behind the difference between men and women, what they see in the opposite sex, how the different temperaments of a man versus a woman plays a part when it comes down to, certain behaviors that you can anticipate, certain default mechanisms that, men are prone to revert back to, uh, and same thing with women. And I really encourage people to understand the nature of the opposite sex so that you could anticipate certain reactions, behaviors, and you won't take it personal when certain things happen. If you understand the nature of something, then you don't take it personal. Let me give you an example. I'm sure the first man that decided trying to tame a lion would be a good idea, uh, probably got bitten or eaten, and everybody else said, okay, that's what not to do. Because, see, at the end of the day, a lion is a lion. There's a certain nature that a lion has that if pushed too far, if the lion wakes up just having a bad day, I don't care if you got a whip in the chair or not, you might get eaten. So you can't be shocked when the lion turns on the lion trainer and eats him. All right, at the end of the day, you got to confess, hey, the lion has a nature to eat, hunt, and rule its own domain. So there's some nature, some built-in mechanisms within men, women, and any creature that you can kind of rely on to a degree. Not saying there's no variations. So this brings me to my point. Tucker Carlson did a piece on families the other night, and he was really focusing on how the family unit has been broken apart and the American dream is dying to get married, raise kids, have your kids be better than you are, make more money than you are, and so on and so forth. And he contributed some of the reasons of that happening to the 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 pay gap between men and women. And he said there's a study that shows when women make more money than their husband or the man, women typically don't want to marry guys that don't make more money than them, or at least the same amount. And of course, liberals got hold to that clip and lost their mind. As if there are some inherited natures within men and women that no longer apply. Well, I think it no longer applies when it comes down to feminists, perhaps, or a whole bunch of progressive liberals who are trying to deny certain attributes that's been placed in men and women, and they act like these things don't exist. Let me give you some examples. They swear up and down that women don't need to feel like a man can be a man and protect them. I saw this on Laura Ingraham last night. And this guy was on there talking about how everything is kind of equal across the board when it comes to men and women. And there's no parts of a man that a woman looks at and says, well, I don't need that, or this isn't something that I can't do myself. And Laura Ingraham kind of reverted back to, what about protection? And he was like, well, there's all different types of protections. There's the protection of allowing her to speak what she wants to speak. And Laura was like, no, I don't see it that way. I think the average woman, when she thinks of protection, she's thinking of like perhaps guy jumps out of an alley. You don't want your boyfriend and your husband to push you in front of the guy and take off running down the alley. Some stuff the liberals in our modern society is trying to be too deep, to look into it too metaphorically, when it's just simplistic in its nature. So therefore, simplify it. If a woman is in a threatening situation just by biology alone, the man either should feel responsible for defending her or protecting her, or she should assume that the man is going to step in and defend her or protect her. Perfect example of this, ladies. If you're laying in bed with your man late at night and you hear a breaking window downstairs, you don't expect him to look over to you and say, go downstairs and see what's making that noise. No, you don't. There are some things that I don't care how much all the feminists say, well, you know what? A woman can do it and all that stuff. There are some things that even a feminist in a situation would probably revert back to her default mode of, are you guys going to stand there and let this happen, or y'all going to defend or protect me? Okay, so another example, if there's a fire in the building and they're saying everybody out the building, women and children first, and the guy says, no, equality, push one of the women, feminists, out of the way, they probably would say, what the hell? You know what? I'm a woman. See, that's when the reality hits the differences between men and women in certain scenarios where you're shocked with the obvious differences that are built into us, but you don't want to accept because you're trying to be progressive. So now, give you an example of that. I saw a woman the other night. She dressed, act like a guy. You could tell she had an alternative lifestyle. Now, I'm not judging her lifestyle, but here's the thing. She's acting more like a guy than a guy. And I guess she was involved with this young lady, and she got upset at some other young lady looking at her, a guy. I think it was a guy, might have been looking at her friend, her girl. And she decides to jump bad. No, heck no, forget that. What's up? What's up? Now, I'm sure she was relying on either the bouncers stopping it from going down or this man just having a built-in inherited nature to say, even though she's dressed like a man, acting like a dude, she's a woman, so I'm not going to smack her in the face. All right, she was relying on that. Now, in her mind, she's attacking this dude as if she possessed the same biological makeup as a man. And she might even believe it. But what would happen if she stepped in that guy's face and he picked her up and slammed her on the ground? The reality would kick in real quick that, whoa, that was grown man strength. I might think I'm a man. I might want to act like a man, but I just got snatched up like a woman. I just got slammed like a woman. So therefore, I got hit with a dose of reality that I'm a woman and there's differences between men and women. And so our society's trying to push this out of our thinking, and almost to the point where it emasculates the man and tries to say, well, there's no such thing as men or women or differences. There's nothing we can rely on when it comes down to the opposite sex, and it kind of muddies the water. So the topic of making more money came up. And of course, Whoopi and all of them on The View, they were like, you know what, this is barbaric and he's trying to keep women. First of all, Tucker was not talking about, women shouldn't make more money than men. He stated a statistical fact that studies show when women make more money than men, that they typically don't want to marry a man that don't make as much money in them. That goes back to many decades ago and years. From the dawn of time, there's a certain comfort and security when a woman feels like their man is a provider. Now, in our modern, postmodern society, I understand that women and men both can work in the workforce. But here's my argument. I think there's some truth to what Tucker was saying. Now, you just tell me, I'm just thinking out loud. I think that if the discrepancy between pay isn't that much, women might go ahead and say, yeah, you know what? I make 100,000, he makes 80. I can roll with that, okay? But when it's huge, that's where even the most open-minded, progressive, minded woman might start saying, Now, what do I mean by that? If a woman is making Oprah Winfrey type money and the guy is working in the mail factory, sorting mail, I'm sure she probably is going to say, do I want to marry this guy and feel like he's living off of my drastic income, that I'm actually being the provider and taking him, allowing him to live a lifestyle that he wouldn't be able to live if it weren't for my paycheck. Now, She might try to start off by saying, well, you know what? I'm going to be open-minded because it's all about love. And it's all about, yeah, I don't care how much he makes until he makes a purchase that he couldn't afford it on his own salary. Now, ladies, you tell me, okay? Just write in the comments. If you were making $10 million a year and the guy you were dating or married to made $80,000 a year, but y'all decide, well, you know, honey, it doesn't matter how much you make, or my money is your money. Now, you might say that, but what happens when Buddy comes home with, say, a Lamborghini? He paid $300,000 for, and you're like, what the heck is this? Well, it's a Lamborghini. Why did you go out and buy a Lamborghini without talking to me? Well, I mean, you know, I'm the man of the house, and, you know, I mean, you got 300, I mean, we millionaires. We got like 20 million. It's only, what, $300,000? I don't see what the problem is. Well, I think she would revert back to that nature of, okay, men normally are a provider, and even though this guy's working, I feel like I am the dominant provider, and this guy's taking advantage of that, and he wouldn't have been able to purchase that Lamborghini without my income. So now the question becomes, could she handle that wise without telling him, like, hey, listen, you bought that with my money, okay? Without my cheese, you wouldn't have been able to get that Lamborghini. You need to check in with me. Now, of course, you know what that's going to do. It's going to make the man feel insecure. It's going to hit him with the reality that she really is a provider, and I don't have that freedom to just use her money as I will, as I please. Same thing. Now, flip it. Just think about this. If a woman marries a man who's making $10 million and she's making 80, and she's happy with the big house they live in, the cars, the stuff that he provides for her, and he comes home with a Lamborghini, she's probably going to look out and say, oh my God, a Lamborghini. Oh man, when can we go for a ride? What did you get? She's probably not going to say, I feel like you should have consulted with me before you bought this Lamborghini. Well, she's going to immediately think, we are extremely rich. He provides for the whole household. Without question, I get whatever I want. If this man wants to buy a Lamborghini with his money that he's making, then he buys a Lamborghini. And I probably ain't got much to say about it. Versus if he went out and bought the Lamborghini with her money. So it's a delicate juggling act and balance when it comes down to how you want to negotiate a relationship that's lopsided, where the woman makes a lot of money and the man doesn't. The other issue is the man's insecurity. So now, when men, you got to be a real mature man to handle this. If you date a woman or you marry a woman who's making a lot more money than you, and she reminds you of it, see, that's where it gets tricky. Well, hon, I was thinking about buying a new car. No, you ain't. Not with my money, or not with the... So now all of a sudden, this man has to be really secure within himself. And that's another topic or issue that could come up with a lot of men, because if they feel like all the things and decisions that I make financially revolves around her paycheck, so really I can't make a decision. I got to kind of grovel or humble myself to ask politely, can I do this? Can I have money for this? You know, and a lot of men can't handle that. And a lot of women that are in powerful positions to make that type of money, there's a study that shows this. If a woman is an alpha female and she is dating someone who, for whatever reason, doesn't appear to be an alpha male, and that could result in his financial, stability. It could be his temperament, personality, lack of confidence. There's a whole bunch of reasons why she might interpret him as not an alpha male, but he's a nice guy, and I'm trying to change. I'm trying to do something different, step outside the box. I'm going to give him a chance. Well, if she starts to see that huge, drastic discrepancy between them, a lot of respect could be lost, and she has to be wise in the way she deals with him, the way she talks to him, the way she allows him to still feel like a man without emasculating him based on the fact that she's pretty much the sole provider of the family. So there's some merit to what Tucker was saying, that even though we're trying to be real progressive, there's some default mechanisms that women can appreciate, and same thing with men. So I think that a lot of women in our society can appreciate a man that brings home the bacon. There's usually not a woman who says, I'm not going to marry this guy because he makes too much money. But there are some women who would say, I'm not going to marry this guy because he doesn't make enough money, because I make such a drastic income that it would overshadow him to the degree where I might start looking at him, whether I want to or not, but subconsciously might start viewing him as a freeloader. Like, you just living off me. Because imagine if you was making 10 million, he's making 80, and he decide, why am I going to work every day at the mailroom and you make $10 million? I only make $80,000. What is that 80 grand going to do? Nothing. So how about this? I'm just going to stay home and be a stay-at-home husband. And you come home from working or doing whatever you do, and he's laying in the bed talking about how was work today, babe? It was fine. How was your day? Oh, it was great, man. I just got up about 10 minutes ago. Got up earlier, played some tennis, came back home, took a nap. So what you want to do tonight? She would start looking at him like, ew, you a freeloader. I want a man. I want somebody who's going to bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan. Yeah. So for all of those progressives out there who says that Tucker's comment has no validity, I think they are in denial to some of the basic natures of men and women. And of course, they're trying to push this in our society to where there isn't any differences between men and women. And they're making a crucial mistake, because I don't think anybody's saying men are better than women or women are better than men. We're equal, but different. And that's the key that people need to focus on. It's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I like a man that I feel like he can protect me, he can provide for me, all of these things. That's what makes us different, and that's what makes us attracted to the opposite sex. Because a man, a normal thinking man, a heterosexual man, the appeal is the contrast between his hard exterior and interior versus her soft exterior and interior. No man wants to date a woman who's like, what's up, though? Come here, give me some love. You good? And the same time, no woman wants to date a man who's like, hi, how are you? You want to go shopping today? There are some things where a woman says, I don't want my man wanting to shop more than me, getting his feet done, exfoliated. And I don't even get my feet done that much. I mean, there's some things that a woman could look at and start to go, I need to see a contrast. Your hands shouldn't be softer than mine. You see these right here? These are grown man hands, all right? Been through some things, all right? Woman don't want to feel hands and go, ooh, those are soft, real soft, softer than mine. I'm concerned. So there's nothing wrong with these contrasts. And I think that we as a society got to be careful of pushing this theory that there is no differences, and you cannot accept a woman having certain attributes that are different from yours and vice versa. So anyway, that's just my thought. After I saw the segment and the reaction to Tucker's video, I said, come on now. Y'all gonna make me go back to my old discussions and the psychology between the two, men and women, and break that stuff down for all the people who's so progressive that they gonna mess up dating, and after a while, ain't nobody gonna be reproducing. Anyway, God bless you. Find me next time in Kevin's Corner. Don't forget to check out Extreme Tees. The link's in the bottom. And if there's a promo code, put my name in. And also, check me out Wednesday nights at 7:30 in Kevin's Corner, live radio, blog, talk show, and on YouTube. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, notification button. And if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's a link in the bottom to do that as well. God bless.